I think a lot of people avoid going through healing because they think that they're going to have to sit through their pain. But the thing about it is you're already sitting in your pain and you're stuck in your pain, and abortion recovery helps you navigate and journey through that pain point so that you can process it and not stay stuck. And also, I think sometimes people avoid going through abortion recovery because they think, well, if I go through this process, then I won't remember my baby. And the thing about it is, you are able to actually give your child even more dignity than you were when you were sitting in shame and guilt and silence.
Hi there, and welcome to Caring for Both, a curbside consult series by the American Association of Pro-Life Obstetricians and Gynecologists, or APLOG. I'm Miriam Diallo, APLOG's Communications Manager, and I'll be your host for today's episode. Now, April is Abortion Recovery Awareness Month, and in honor of that, we wanted to bring on somebody who has a lot of really important insights for medical professionals who are serving patients with abortion in their past history. Serena Dyksen is the co-founder of She Found His Grace, which is a Christian faith-based abortion recovery ministry where she serves women who are facing trauma or regret from past abortions, as well as women who are actively going through pregnancy decisions. They have a lot of resources for men as well. And in this conversation, she's offering a lot of really important insights, not only for women and men who have been impacted by abortions, but also for medical professionals who might be serving them later down the road. So we'll jump right into this conversation, and I hope that you enjoy. Serena, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me on today.
Yeah, and just to start off, can we just start with you telling us your story and how you came to start She Found His Grace?
Yeah. So I was sexually assaulted at the age of 13, and I was taken to George Clawford, an abortionist that ended up hoarding 2,411 babies. Um, my when we had got my family had gone to our family doctor. Our family doctor only suggested abortion, and so my parents they were looking for help. That was the help that was offered, and so they took me to an abortion clinic. And what ended up happening was the abortion was the most painful thing that I've ever experienced, emotionally and physically, spiritually. It never did stop my rapist from assaulting other women. In fact, the clinic was shut down later on for not reporting other minors being assaulted. And so my mom, uh, my mom actually held on to that pain from the taking me for the abortion for years. Just recently, she had shared with me that when she heard me screaming for help, they wouldn't let her help me, and they ended up calling the police on her. And so she's lived with that, and my parents would have done something different if they would have known. And when I wrote my book, She Found His Grace, actually the doctor that recommended the abortion, one of his nurses reached out and said that he still thinks about that to this day and regrets suggesting abortion. And it's something that he's remembered over 30 some years later.
Oh, oh, thank you so much for sharing that. There's certainly a lot of trauma and a lot of evil in your story. And so I thank you so much for sharing that story, and I'm sorry you went through that. But it also seems like you were able to thankfully use that story for good in order to help women and men in what they're going through. So can you share a little bit about how that came to be?
Yeah, so after I had my abortion at 13, when I turned 16, Planned Parenthood had come to our school and had given a sex ed presentation, and so I found myself pregnant again. Went to Planned Parenthood. They said, "You're young, poor, and in school. You should abort your baby." And I knew abortion would not be something that I would do again. And so I shared my story with my husband for the first time. And as a 17-year-old young man, he said, "I don't know how we'll figure it out, but we'll figure it out." And we chose life that day.
Wow.
Um, by the time we were 23, we had two small children. We bought our first house and we thought we were beating the odds. What ended up happening was I had a miscarriage, and that miscarriage triggered a double grief. I did not realize that my abortion was a loss or a grief because it had been sold to us as, this is going to fix, your assault. And so, you always hear people say the assault, how could I carry my rapist baby? But that is a child loss. And I just didn't realize it at the time. And so my husband and I started to have marital issues. um, I had an ovary rupture and I almost lost my life. And by the time I was 29, I had to have a complete hysterectomy. And I remember going to doctors, and one, I did not share that I had an abortion. That was not something that I was willing to talk about. There's a lot of shame, there's a lot of guilt with that, and so I didn't share with my doctor that I had an abortion. But what ended up happening was I was having all these health issues, and I remember one time just being so frustrated and so at my ends wits because it was just um, all just all these health things, and just being, I felt like I was being wrote off. But with that being said, I didn't share my abortion and I didn't have people asking me if abortion was part of my past. I think that if that question would have been asked, um, and explained to me a little bit more of the effects of abortion, I would have connected the dots a lot sooner in this situation. But the the abortion caused a lot of trauma in our family. I turned to drugs, I turned to alcohol, I left my family, and really, I had an encounter that changed my life forever. And um, I ended up, a sweet sister asked me, "Have you ever gone through abortion healing?" And I thought at that point, I had done a ton of healing, I had gone to counseling, I thought things were really good. But for me, as a believer, I heard the Holy Spirit say, "How do you expect to help others if you're not willing to go there yourself?" And so I went through abortion healing, and it changed my life because I could actually acknowledge the loss of my child and grieve the loss of my child and find freedom and healing that I needed. And so, really, what happened was during that time, God was very, very clear on my next steps. Um, I ended up writing my book, and we had people flooding us. We could not keep up with the amount of people that read my book that said, "I'm hurting too." And so that's how we launched She Found His Grace Abortion Recovery for men and women to find healing after abortion.
Oh, wow. Certainly, that is a powerful story, and I know, I'm sure a lot of people who are listening to this will see themselves in what you went through with the double grief and the miscarriage, the feeling written off by medical professionals when you're facing reproductive health issues, and certainly the fact that you were flooded with positive feedback when you released your book kind of testifies to that. So, uh, April is Abortion Recovery Awareness Month, And so, for those women who might see themselves in your story, what do you have to say about what it looks like to experience and go through abortion recovery and abortion healing?
Oh my goodness. Abortion recovery was the best thing that I've ever gone through in my life. It helped me um, just process the loss of my child and give my child dignity. It helped me find my voice so that I could share my story. I think a lot of people avoid going through healing because they think that they're going to have to sit through their pain. But the thing about it is you're already sitting in your pain and you're stuck in your pain, and abortion recovery helps you navigate and journey through that pain point so that you can process it and not stay stuck. And also I think sometimes people avoid going through abortion recovery because they think, well, if I go through this process, then I won't remember my baby. And the thing about it is, you are able to actually give your child even more dignity than you were when you were sitting in shame and guilt and silence. And I think that people who have had an abortion, for one, you're not alone. There's so many people who have had abortions, and the thing about it is, I wear a shirt that says "Ask Me My Story," and I wear it all over the country. And people will say, "What's your story?" And I have it down to 30 seconds. And people will say, "That's my story too." And you know what? If we don't find our voice, our healed voice, the narrative doesn't change. And we need to change this narrative.
Mm. Yeah, that's really important. And it kind of sounds like you're saying that some people might feel that going through abortion healing or uh, going through that process kind of means that they'll end up just getting over it, forgetting their baby, and moving on with their lives. But really, it sounds like what you're saying is that uh, going through this process will help people really fully realize the value of their baby's life and really reintegrate that and redeem their story for good in remembering their baby in the best and healthiest way possible.
Amen. It's how do we turn our pain into purpose? What do
Yeah.
we do with that pain point and we make it a purpose, right? And I think that's the beautiful thing that we do when we go through healing, and we're able to start walking in the freedom that we have. It's no longer about look what I've done, but look what was done on the cross for me. And it's really the whole gospel message, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. Um, you mentioned that a lot of women heard themselves in your story. They said, that's my story too. I'm sure that a lot of men might be able to hear themselves in your story, or at least your husband's story as well. A lot of men are also impacted by abortion. And so, what advice do you have for them, or what thoughts do you have for them about what it looks like as a man to heal from potentially a past girlfriend or another partner's abortion experience?
So, yeah, I was actually invited to a drug rehab center for men, and I shared my story, and men flooded the front where I was speaking, saying that's their story, and they had never heard anybody talk about abortion healing. And they were so thankful to have that space. And so we actually serve men as well and help them find restored fatherhood, because abortion is a loss for them too. In the case of my husband, he was walking alongside a wife who had an abortion. He was not part of that abortion, but he was facing the fallout of that abortion and just didn't know how to help me. He was he'll tell you that he was a fixer, and he said, I couldn't fix my wife. I didn't even know why she was hurting so badly. And so if there's a man that's listening, I get to see through our men's recovery program, I see men walk in one way and they leave completely different. And we just had a men's class finish, and one of the guys, he said, "I'm sad that it's over." because he has built a brotherhood with men. And, he didn't think that he was going to name his child. And, he actually did name his child. I've seen men hold fetal models and just weep um, because they've connected that was what they've lost. But man, when they go through abortion healing and really discover that they do have a voice, because I think society tells men to shut up and be quiet. And you know what? Once they find out that, hey, you know what, I do have a voice, that is going to change the narrative of the family structure. And so, if there's a man that's listening today, sign up for He Found His Grace Abortion Recovery. See your life be transformed. Watch your marriage be restored. We've seen families restored, husbands and wives, literally before our eyes, where a husband has said, I'm so sorry. I didn't know how badly this would hurt you.
Right, absolutely. And we'll talk a little bit more about where people can go to find you and learn more about your ministry and potentially get the help they need at the end of this episode. And I'll definitely have those resources in the show notes. Uh, but first, I know a lot of the people listening to this podcast are medical professionals. And you mentioned, the experience that you had with medical professionals. And I know that a lot of our members have cared for patients who have abortion in their medical history, and a lot of them either haven't processed it, have expressed regret, or are going through what you described, the double grief with a subsequent pregnancy or pregnancy loss. So, what thoughts do you have for medical professionals as they help women navigate uh, this abortion recovery, or abortion healing, or just reckoning with a past abortion?
hmm So I think for the women and men that we serve, women, one thing is they're embarrassed to say that they had an abortion. So, I know I remember looking on a form and it said pregnancy loss. Well, sometimes women are not connecting the dots between pregnancy, loss, and abortion. And so, can we spell that out? Like, let's just say it for what it is, right? Give them the opportunity to be able to say, yes, I had an abortion. Um, Another thing, too, is just making sure a lot of compassion is shown. Because I know sometimes we've had women say, you know what, I was just met with not a compassionate doctor. Or if they're taking the abortion pill, they're scared to tell you because of the fact that Planned Parenthood has lied to them. And so, figuring out a way to draw that out of them and make them feel safe. I know for our organization, we have a helpline and we walk them through how to tell you guys. We will be texting them so that they can get the medical help that they need. And so we literally, just give them like help them with the wording to put words to it when they feel like they can't say it. And so, just I think asking the question, and sometimes I think, well, I'm not going to say sometimes, Planned Parenthood has normalized abortion so much that we need to normalize the grief part of it. And we need to be talking about it and asking more questions when they come in, and educating them the difference between a miscarriage and taking the abortion pill, because so many of them do not know the difference. And so that education is so needed. And so I think just having that compassion and recognizing sorry for your loss, that goes a long way with the women that we work with.
Right, absolutely. You mentioned the education piece. You're certainly right that there's a concerted effort to tell women who have taken the abortion pill and are experiencing complications or yeah, the heavy bleeding, etc. When they go to the emergency room, there's a lot of people telling them to just say that you're miscarrying, and not tell them that you took the abortion drugs. So we do have resources about that on our website. Why, from a medical perspective, it is important that they are forthcoming about that information. And so it's definitely important for medical professionals to let them know that actually it is in their best interest to tell the truth there, and that they won't get in trouble. Not a single law across the country, no matter how pro-life the state is, not a single law will get women in trouble for having taken an abortion pill. So they don't need to be scared on that front. And that's something that's important to know. And you mentioned the point of just having compassion uh, on with women who are grieving and potentially have some complex emotions surrounding their past abortion. That's also an important piece there as well.
Yes. For sure. Those are the things that we're experiencing from the ladies that we talk to. So thank you for just highlighting those things so that people
Um,
know.
Absolutely. And thank you so much for being a resource. Let's dive a little bit more into what kinds of resources you provide. You mentioned men's healing groups. You mentioned how you help women who might be going through a potential abortion decision kind of in real time. So can you tell us a little bit more about what all programs you offer?
Yeah, so at She Found His Grace, we have our women's program. We offer online and in person, something that we're headed towards. For us, we are opening a redemption house. We have that for our future plans because we just saw a need for women who have taken the abortion pill. They were contacting us through our helpline and um, completely broken and going and checking themselves into mental hospitals and just being pumped full of medication and then getting out and contacting us again and saying that didn't help me. And so we see a huge need to open up a resource where women can actually come and stay in a house with us so that they can start their healing process. So that's in the future alongside with our classes. We also offer the men's classes online and in person. And that's a weekly class that they have. And then we have our helpline, which um, women and men who regret their abortions can contact us and we can get them connected into the healing resources that they need. We also have, through that helpline, we have women that are considering abortion. And so we've been able to help them, uh, choose life because we have a Hands of Grace team that will get them the resources they need locally and nationally. But also, we've been able to connect them to the abortion pill reversal. And so we've had reversal saves as well.
Very cool. And that's a very comprehensive set of resources and programs that you have. So certainly I'm sure a lot of people will find help that if they need it. Um, and I know that it's extremely needed in this day and age, just given that our culture takes a very cavalier approach to abortion, saying it's perfectly fine, completely downplaying not only the physical health risks, but also the potential mental health complications further down the road. So yeah, thank you so much for everything that you're doing. And one last question from me would be, where can people go to either take advantage of the programs or just learn more about what you do?
Yeah, before I do that, I have to share
Sure.
something that
Yeah,
just
of
happened a
course.
couple weeks ago. So through our helpline, we actually had a mom that was at a late term abortion clinic. And if they don't take away their phones, we're able to actually text them while they're in the clinic. And she was texting us and they were talking to her and we were talking to her as well. We've had this happen a couple times. As long as they don't take their phones away, we can still communicate with them. And she left the abortion clinic, and she said, "I need help getting back home." And so we were able to get her the resources to get back on a plane to get back home. And one of our team members happened to live 7 miles away from where she lived. And so she picked her up from the airport, got her back home, and we were able to help her. So,
Wow.
I just our helpline has been one of them, the along with our abortion recovery, but the helpline has just been amazing on being able to reach them in the clinic. So I had to share that because that's such a victory.
Yeah,
So
absolutely. That
um,
is a really important point. Is that
yeah.
you really do real-time saves and
Mhm.
help for women who are actively going through this process.
Yep, yep. And so, if there's anybody that needs abortion healing, whether you're a man or you're a woman, you can go to She Found Us Grace, and there's a tab. It currently says programs. It's going to be changing to ministry. So it's either programs or ministry. You will be able to click on the women's or the men's tab to sign up for a class. If you're considering, if you're someone that finds themselves in a position that's considering abortion, we have a helpline that's 574-400-5272. You can text us, you can get on a call. We have a whole team set up for that. And also, that's where you can find us if you want to know more about my story. I did write a book. I often talk about my story is a misplaced compassion, and we cannot have a misplaced compassion when it comes to my story. And I know that there are people that are like, man, and I would hope that no one listening today would be there, but you know what? I take nothing off the table. I've had so many conversations. And when it comes to my story, I often hear, I am pro life except for that 13-year-old girl. And you know what? I am that 13-year-old girl. My life would have looked different had I not had that abortion. I cannot help what someone did to me, but it is a heavy weight to carry knowing that you were part of ending an innocent life that did not deserve for their life to be ended.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I'm sure, there's countless men and women who have been helped by the compassion, the hope, and the resources that you provide. So thank you so much, Serena, for all that you do and for coming on this podcast today.
Yes, thank you so much.
Yeah, and thank you so much to our listeners as well for listening. If you like this episode, be sure to give us a like and the subscribe button on YouTube. And if you're listening via podcast app, be sure to give us a 5-star review because that helps us reach as many people as possible. Thank you so much again, and we'll see you next week. Hi there, this is Miriam Diallo, Applog's Communications Manager, and before we close out today's episode, I wanted to quickly show you an exciting new video that our team at Applog recently produced. It explains Applog's history and purpose within the pro-life movement and encourages all pro-life medical professionals and allies to mobilize behind pro-life physicians as they forge a new path forward in medicine. Here it is. Hope you enjoy.
There's never been a time in Applog's 51 years of existence that it was more important that we exist than right now. We can be effective within the pro-life movement in a way that no other organization can be. We were established as a special interest group within the American College of OBGYNs. That special interest group actually then quickly became the largest and remained that way until 2013 when ACOG dissolved the title of special interest group.
And so even though we've been around for 50 plus years, we formally became a second organization to be a different voice that no longer could speak within ACOG.
What we have seen over the last approximately 20 years is that ACOG, the American College of OBGYNs, are throwing aside sound medicine, evidence-based medicine, in favor of this ideological agenda of abortion with no restrictions, no barriers, no limits whatsoever. And I see that being harmful not only to our patients, but to our profession.
I don't think a lot of practicing physicians are aware of just how bold ACOG has been regarding the blatant lies that they're telling related to induced abortion.
Our voices are so important right now because of the lies that are coming out of the medical field that are scaring people into supporting abortion when they otherwise wouldn't. That has spurred us on at APLOG to speak truth to fellow medical professionals and to speak truth to the culture that induced abortion is not healthcare. It ends the life of one of our patients, and it oftentimes causes significant harm for our other patient.
If we didn't have APLOG's voice, there would be one narrative, and that narrative would be that the direct and intentional killing of one of our patients is normalized in medicine.
With APLOG leading the charge, doctors can make a difference in this fight for life. We are speaking up louder and more boldly for the truth and for the lives of both of our patients. We're doing that by providing alternatives for medical students to go to life-affirming residency programs. We're doing that by actively seeking out ways to get the truth out there in medical journals, in the media, and in the court of public opinion, instead of people just being fed the false narrative that the pro-abortion lobby would like for them to hear. And we're seeing that that makes a difference. We're seeing wins in states now where doctors are speaking up. Our membership is growing. We are serving as an example to groups all over the world.
The one thing that gets me most excited about the future of APLOG are the actual doctors themselves who are waking up and starting a revolution and saying, no more, you do not get our profession. We need every single one of those voices out there, and APLOG is leading the way. APLOG is connecting individuals to the needed resources to be the voice for their practices, their hospital systems, their local communities, their states, and this nation.
We have plans in place to reach physicians and medical students in every state in this country to get them into their state houses, talking to their lawmakers, testifying about the impact of abortion on their patients, and continuing to spread the word to women out there who are facing unplanned or complicated pregnancies that we are there for both you and your child.
APLOG is an organization that gives its members courage. This isn't an easy battle. It's every day. Sometimes it feels like it's every minute. To know that there's an organization that is in the arena, in the battle, gives me great confidence to keep fighting.
We are the ones who represent true medical advancement, true medical science, and the way that medicine was meant to be practiced. We need people to join with us to help us mobilize and equip our physicians to go out and be a voice for life and a voice for change.